Hey, so I wanted to make this video because in my last video I was talking about lobbying. So I just wanted to dive into this. So I've never ever voted because until this past year, because I always thought it was bullshit. I never could really get involved in politics because I was just like, how can I invest myself so deeply if I know that lobbying is going on? Lobbying is literally acknowledging that your government is being bought out by corporation. Both parties get lobbied and take lobby money. So both parties are involved with being bought out. Both parties are involved with dishonesty and no truth and not for the people if they're being bought up by corporation. So my point is that you need to realize that both sides don't care. Both sides have agendas. Now, I think both sides might have better ideas than others or talk about things, but do they really want to go through with that? Or is it just kind words and nice words to make you want to vote for that person? And then after that, they just don't care. So after all this stuff was going on, I've been looking into a lot of things for years, and then I voted. And what I thought on who they want to win and and corruption and all this stuff is exactly what happened. But now, going into lobbying and going into how do we clean up politics. Now, there's a lot of things that we need to do to clean this shit up, but the two biggest things that I think would help to clean it up, to get closer to authentic politics and for the people, which it's obviously is going to be loopholes for everything, but the two biggest things is 3 parties. Now, we supposedly have 3 parties, but only 2 parties get attention and get money. So how do we close that? How do we make the third party have that neutral party have more say? Because right now it's just, you either have to pick this or you have to pick that. And obviously, a lot of people are familiar with Joe Rogan and his podcast, and he had Tulsi Gabbard, if I'm pronouncing her name the right way. He had her on there, and she was saying when she first got involved with politics, obviously she's a Democrat, but she said that they said, and she was like, this happens on both sides. She said that they told her, listen, it doesn't matter if, and I'll grab the clip and throw it in here after the video, but she said, they told her, it doesn't matter if the other side has a good proposition or a good policy. If it's not a democratic policy and we didn't bring it up, we're going to vote against it because it's party versus party. And I'm 100% sure that the other side does the same shit, which is pathetic, and it's sad because that literally shows that you're not for the people. They told her, well, we'll just wait for somebody on our side to bring up a very similar policy and then we'll vote on that one. So they're just going to not vote because you're not on their team. But I thought the team of politics was, for people who are so deeply involved in politics, I thought it was for the people. But the other thing with people who are so deeply involved in politics is that they think that their party is the righteous party and the other party is evil. Now, we can get into arguments over who does more fucked up things than the other party, but bottom line is both of these parties are biased, both of these parties have agendas, and both of these parties want to do what they want to do, and they don't want the other team to win. But so anyway, 3 parties. And how do we get that third party who maybe can be like that middle ground and can have just as much voice and involvement with what's going on in politics? Because both sides don't want that. But they don't want that third party. because that third party is going to take away from them and their voice and their attention. But now, how do we get that third party, right, to have the equal amount of time to talk, whether it's through advertisements or, campaigning or whatever it is? We need to get rid of lobbying. We need to make it illegal. Germany, they have free advertising. This is what me and my friend spoke about a while ago. And it makes perfect sense. Free advertisements for campaigns. And why does that make sense? Because once again, these people are supposed to be for the people. The money has to come from somewhere. So if it's coming from taxpayer dollars, then that's for the people. And then maybe they'll be more authentic. Maybe they won't. But what it will do, because it might not change what they say. They might just say bullshit just to get your vote. But what it will do is it will stop them from making bank off of corporations. And what it will do is it will stop potential conflict of interest. Because now if you have big companies, gasoline or oil companies, or things that are causing destruction to the environment, right? It'll cause those people to not be able to buy people out, so they won't speak against it. What it will do for the other person, it'll make equal playing ground. If you do free advertisement, equal playing ground for that third party who doesn't have money like that, because they're not on either side. What corporation is going to dump hundreds of thousands of dollars into a party that is not really on either side? Well, I'm not going to give this person money because they're not really going to lean towards how I feel, so I'm not going to pay them off. You know what I mean? So if we do that, now that guy, so say this party has innovative ideas, or there's a guy for advertising, there's this company or whatever. They'll get to be able to speak. Because if it's free advertising, they don't need to come up with however hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, whatever it takes to get onto Google, to get onto TV. They won't have to have all of that money to bring their ideas that are going to potentially be progressive and make the world go in a better way. If it's alternative fuel, if it's whatever it is, better health, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let your imagination go. The current system with lobbying is halting progression, because it's not allowing the underdogs and the people who don't have money, it's not allowing them to speak. It's only allowing the people with money and who are taking money to speak. And those politicians, you know what I mean? So this is where it comes down to. And if you really care, and if you're so deeply involved in politics and you care about progression, and you're not a biased person, you're not like, oh, my party's the best and your party sucks and da-da-da-da-da, you will be on board with this. This is something that needs to happen. We need to get rid of lobbying. We need to allow free advertising for campaigning, because this is what is going to happen. If we don't do this, then politics is always going to be bullshit. It's never going to be honest. It's never going to be progressive if we are continuing to allow people to get bought out. And with that, yes, Trump is out of office. But the thing that I 100% disagree with when it comes to what Trump did is now, Trump is the first president who obviously ever came into office with the business and the infrastructure that he had and all that stuff, right? Nobody's had that. Now, once again, conflict of interest. If it's not good for one side, it can't be good for the other side. We can't be biased here. His club, Mar-a-Lago, which is in Florida, after he became the president, it doubled in price. It went from $100,000 to $200,000 for his club membership. Now, when you're a president, you're not supposed to have businesses, because you're not supposed to have outside influence. You're getting money from taxpayers, right? Because you're supposed to be for the people. So your money is coming from the people, right? He had his business. Is it going to be perfect? Yes, there's probably going to be loopholes because his family can still make money. So if he just puts his businesses in his other kid's name or whatever it is, and then he's collecting some money from that still could happen. But we have to start somewhere. So it is not allowed to happen. He is not supposed to be able to have businesses, but he did, and nothing ever really happened about it, which I disagree with, because once again, that could still be used as lobby. If he didn't take money, right, which I thought was great. It was great. He didn't take money to be the president. He took $1. He donated that. He didn't take lobby money, which is great because he had his own money. But there's still a loophole there to where lobbying can still happen. Now, if a corporation or whatever goes and they buy a club membership, they buy a $200,000 club membership, but they're not actually using the club membership. They just buy it to buy it, right? Hey, I bought your club membership. Why don't you listen to what I'm trying to say? So it could still happen. And I 100% be like, no, like that should not be allowed. Like all that shit should be frozen while he's president. And for any president going forward, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. But like I said, I just don't understand, like, because you had Democrats talking about this and say that that was bad, which it is bad. But at the same time, why is that bad? But then we're okay with Democratic politicians to take lobby money. So it's just like, and vice versa. It goes both ways. Republicans and all whatever. Oh, he's so great and he didn't do that, which I thought was great too. But they never talked about his club going and doubling in price and blah, 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 right? So both parties are equally responsible for highlighting the other person for taking, for the shitty things that they do or where they screw up, and then not talking about the shitty things their own party affiliation does. So this is the problem, and it's so mind-blowing, and it's frustrating, and it's just like why it's like so hard to even want to be involved in politics and to be like, what's going on now? Because like, you just see it. It's just like, does anybody actually want progression? Does anybody want it? But anyway, so once again, like I said, the best way that I think that we can start cleaning up, not to clean up, but to start cleaning up, and the things that I think would impact politics and making it move in the positive direction to where we can have is closer to an honest politicians and honest politics and all that, is to get rid of lobbying, acknowledging that lobbying is corruption, and lobbying is making your government protect the corporations from us. The government's supposed to protect the people from the corporations, but they protect the corporations from the people. The complete opposite of what they're supposed to do. So lobbying is bad, lobbying is corruption, lobbying is bribery. If I can give you $100,000, $200,000 towards your campaign, that means that you're pocketing $200,000 because now you don't have to spend $200,000. So if I was going to put $200,000, now I just got all of that campaign money and I still didn't do anything. So what if I put $100,000, $200,000 of my own money into campaigning, and then somebody came in here and was like, here's $200,000. Listen to me. How's that any different? At the end of the day, you're still going to have that same amount of money in your bank account. So explain to me how it's any different. It's not. It's bribery. It's corruption. So we need to make it illegal. We need to allow for free advertising so that third party that we supposedly have, which we need to actually have and have a voice, so it's not just one or the other side that you have to choose on. We can now give that third party a place to speak, a platform to talk about and advertise what they need to. So now we can have another idea and a middle ground, and I believe that middle ground, and for most people who are in the middle, if you're too far left and you're too far right, you're not really helping anybody because you're too caught up in your own crap that you can't understand that other people can have ideas. You're just like, no, I'm right and my side's right. Like, you're not, you're just ignorant. You're both equally ignorant, just on the opposite side as each other. So extremists on both sides don't matter, and we're just gonna be in a tug of war, going back and forth, because neither side on the extreme end want to budge and be like, all right, well, we'll take some of your policies because that's kind of good and blah, 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 because you're not for progression. You're just for, I want what I want. So we need that middle party for progression, for a highlighted idea of what might actually work. So that's what we need to do. So let's try to figure out, and hopefully maybe share this video or make a video of yourself talking about, or just share the idea of trying to get rid of lobbying and get into free advertising. And we need to figure out how to make this happen, because the politicians are not going to be for it. They're not going to be for it because they're taking money. So we need, as a people, we need to come together, whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, or you want a vaccine or don't want a vaccine, or you're about natural health or this, or you're about that. It doesn't matter. We need to come together and realize that lobbying is corrupting both sides. Both parties are involved in it, and it is just plaguing the whole thing. And it's not allowing progression. It's not allowing for new innovative ideas of people that might have better ideas than these multi-million or billion-dollar corporations, because they're not going to want them to talk, because what's going to happen is that they're going to take away from their business. And what if their business is doing more harm than it is doing good? Just because we have jobs doesn't mean that it's doing good for the overall. That's my liberal side of me. But anyway, so yeah, share this video, talk about lobbying. Let's try to get this shit to, whether we have to get petitions, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure it out. If anybody has any good ideas on how to go forward with this, whether it's petitions or whatever it is, we have to try to figure something out, because we're just going to be dealing with the same crap, and real issues are going to be happening behind the scenes while we're over here bickering about other things. So much love, guys, and y'all, we need to come together and let's really try to make this difference. And lobbying's bad, so make lobbying illegal and free advertisements. Much love, y'all. I'll talk to you later.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
This has been one of the most frustrating things that I've seen and experienced throughout my over 6 years in Congress, that really started like when I first went up after I got elected, where after every election happens, the new members of Congress, they go and they have what's called new member orientation, and they give you these books, and here's the maps, and here's where your office is, and all the administrative and logistical stuff. But very quickly, I would say within the first few days, where we first come in together as Democrats and Republicans, immediately, okay, Democrats go this way, Republicans go this way, immediately separated. And what we're told right off the bat is, look, this is about getting wins for our political party. And if you work with a Republican, then that's going to hurt the party, especially if you work with a Republican that the Democratic Party is trying to take out. Forget the substance of the idea, forget the substance of the bill. And this happens on the opposite side as well. Republicans with Democrats, both political parties are guilty of this, where they're really putting the interests of the political party ahead of the people who just voted for us to go and serve them. And not just the Democrats who voted for me, but yes, the independents and the Republicans, both who voted for me or who didn't, but who I serve as part of my constituency. And I've continued to see this, where, you'll have a bill that, because it's a Democrat bill, Republicans will vote against it, substance aside, or a Republican bill, Democrats will vote against it just because it's a Republican bill. But then, hey, if they come in and, a month or a year later introduce the same bill or a similar bill, but now because it's a Democratic bill, okay, everybody, hey, let's go and support this legislation. You can imagine why there is so much gridlock in Washington, why nothing really gets done, and ultimately how this divisiveness and this hyperpartisanship is hurting the ability for the needs of the American people to be served.
When you talk about people like yourself that are completely funded by the public, mm-hmm. and you have this very logical and objective way of discussing this gridlock, do you think that the future is in young people like yourself getting involved in politics, that they're not connected to this old world for 35, 45 years? This world, it sounds like this is just what you do. Yeah. I mean, I watched House of Cards. Mm-hmm. I get it sort of. That seems like chaos. And it seems like there's no way to fix that. It's almost like these people have to stop being politicians. Yeah. They have to be voted out or die off. I mean,
well, I think it's evident where we see those who are very entrenched in this this broken system feel very threatened by the rise of people-powered campaigns, individual contributions coming in and supplanting the big money that they get from, the PACs and lobbyists. And there's fear there because they see their whole world being disrupted by people like me or others who are coming in and saying, no, we're not buying into any of that. And we're coming in to actually fulfill the mission that we've been charged with by those who voted for us to serve the people, all the people of this country.
And would you say that, well, this is my position. I think that Trump plays a part of that because I think he was the first guy to come in basically self-funded or being funded through his own means and not listening to the rest of the Republican Party saying, hey, I'm going to take over and I'm going to do this my way. And then knowing that he could do that and knowing that there were so many Republicans against him and knowing that there's so many Democrats against him as well, but yet he's still the president.
Yep.
Like people are like, Jesus, this is a fragile system. Like this system it's what they've done to acquire power is still very vulnerable, even though they have this deeply entrenched system of weird little relationships that it's not good enough.
Yeah.
That if the people do rise up and they decide, hey, we want to put Tulsi in as president, you're going to have a different situation. A lot of you clowns are going to be out of work.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's really that's the message that we're carrying to living rooms and town halls and communities across the country is Washington continues to underestimate the power of the people.
And it's supposed to work for you.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, our founding fathers had this vision for our country that our government would be of the people, by the people, and for the people. And instead, what we have is a government of the rich and powerful by and for the rich and powerful, or of the special interests in corporations by and for the special interests in corporations. Yes. And, we the people get left behind.